Marquette basketball and lacrosse on tap for you tonight.
Broadcasting from Johnson Hall, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report. Thank you for tuning in to another jam-packed episode of Golden Eagle Sports Report. I'm Brian Foley.
And I'm Grant Becker. Heading into Marquette's home matchup with Creighton this past Thursday, our own Mike Cianciolo sat down with Fox Sports 1's Bill Raftery to discuss some Golden Eagle hoops.
Coach, looking at this game tonight, what is Marquette going to need to do to stop Doug McDermott and pull off the upset?
Well, I think just play their game. I think Jake is big, making shots, opens up a lot of things for the other people, and I think how they match up. Will they play big? I think if they start making threes and they can't get the coverage, from Chris Atule and Gardner, I think they'll end up playing smaller to make sure they run them off the three-point line. But I think this is a monumental game in terms of NCAA. This is a real resume builder, and I could just feel today at practice that, the kids realize that, this is like almost a must-win for them in terms. I'm sure if they happen to lose, they'll, they can get it going again as you get into the tournament, Big East tournament. But this one is really gives them credentials.
Marquette's really started to find their identity. They've got a 3-game momentum streak going on right now. They're sitting tied third in the Big East. Where do you see them at the end of the regular season, and do you think that where they're going to end up postseason-wise, NCAA tournament or NIT?
Well, that's why this game is big. The strength of schedule, as analyzed by others, is not quite as high as somebody else. That's why you beat an 11th ranked team in the country, you go way up in your RPI. So, in terms of the future, it's very difficult. They got to win out. They've got to play solid in the Big East tournament. Depending on this game, this is just a great confidence builder and should buoy them the rest of the year.
Coming into the season, Marquette was projected to be first in the Big East, and years past they've been picked towards the bottom of the Big East. Do you think that had a lot of implications on how this team has played this season, how they've been coached? Buzz Williams, instead of being the underdog, they're the top dog, and everybody's coming at them. Do you think that that's affected their play this year?
I think certainly that's been an edge over the years for Marquette. No, but I just think different people trying to, Junior Cadogan was a bigger force than all of us remembered. I think a lot of guys were asked to do some different things early on, and it's taken them a while to get their rotation down. So, seasons are complex. It doesn't start the way you want sometimes, so you're always toying and, fiddling, I guess is a better word. So, right now they're a tough team to play. I think defensively they've been great. It's whether they shoot the ball well that's been the difference.
Looking at Marquette's roster, which one of these guys do you see making it to the next level and playing in the NBA?
Well, it's hard because I think Wilson, for one, is a big-time prospect. But I never say somebody can't make it anymore, because if kids are willing to work and go to the development league. Now, in terms of a star, I don't think there's anybody on the team that will be a star. But I do think that there's a possibility of guys playing at the next level.
What's your projection for tonight's game?
I don't know. I'll be disappointed if Marquette doesn't really get after this team. As to the outcome, we hope it's a buzzer game, and whoever makes it last shot, God bless them. It'll be exciting for us.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Marquette hosting number 11 Creighton and Doug McDermott. On hand to see the game was NBA legend Scottie Pippen and several Milwaukee Bucks, including O.J. Mayo. Now, here we have Derek Wilson with the and-one layup to start the scoring for Marquette. Wilson would miss the free throw. Late in the first half, Isaiah Zierden with the hesitation and the give to Grant Gibbs, who throws down the athletic dunk to put the Jays up by 7. 38 seconds left now in the half, and Jamil Wilson drives the lane, powers through the contact, and gets the bucket to earn the 2 and a trip to the line. Wilson would hit the free throw, and the Golden Eagles would go into the half trailing by 7. Doug McDermott got the scoring going for the Creighton Blue Jays early in the second half off this assist from Ethan Rogge. 10 minutes left here, and the Golden Eagles are trying to make a comeback. Derek Wilson dishes to Todd Mayo, who drives the lane and gets it the finger roll lay-in. Doug McDermott would have none of the comeback, though, as he fakes and then drives the lane for the layup. Boy, he makes that look easy. Creighton showed that they're more than just a one-man team, with this fantastic team play and ball movement resulting in a 3 from Austin Chapman. That puts the Blue Jays up by 11, and they would not look back from there. For more on this game, we go to our own Mike Cianciolo.
Wednesday night, the Marquette Golden Eagles were looking to climb the Big East ladder and upset number 11 Creighton, but the Blue Jays' Doug McDermott and Ethan Rogge would combine for 47 points, and Creighton would take this one on the road 85-70.
We didn't shoot the ball from the free throw line, even though I'm pleased with the numbers of attempts. But their numbers, you know, we held them to 40% in Omaha, but percentage-wise, they took over 50% of their shots from three, just like they did in Omaha. You can't win, obviously, if you're trading threes for twos.
Creighton would shoot a stellar 52.2% from behind the arc and an even better 62.2% from the field. The scoring duo of McDermott and Rogge contributed for 8 of the team's 12 three-pointers. It didn't matter what Marquette threw at Creighton defensively because their shots kept falling. A bright spot off the Golden Eagles bench came from freshman Deontay Burton, who would only play for 10 minutes due to foul trouble, but poured in 11 points and grabbed 4 rebounds for the blue and gold.
He's turning into a really good leader, particularly for a freshman. He's not backing down from the work or the workload, and really pleased with him. And I thought the minutes that he played, and he probably could have played a few more. I thought he was good. He's got to quit fouling.
Marquette would shoot themselves in the foot at the free throw line by missing 16 attempts, which could have been the difference in the game. Coming into Wednesday's matchup, the Golden Eagles were shooting free throws at just under 70% per game. If they hope to regroup from this loss and succeed moving forward, they will need to brush off their 20 for 36 performance at the charity stripe.
How we responded to the St. John's loss led us to this moment in time, and how we respond to this loss, we'll see. But we need to have the same response or slightly better, because our next game is on the road, not at home.
The Golden Eagles, still in search of a signature victory this season, will travel to DePaul Saturday to face the Blue Demons. Reporting from the BMO Harris Bradley Center, Mike Cianciolo, MUTV Sports.
The Golden Eagles traveled to DePaul looking for a W after that tough Creighton loss. Marquette hoping to win just their 3rd Big East road game this year. Former Blue Demon Bobby Simmons was courtside for this rivalry. Starting the first, Todd Mayo slashes through the paint and puts in the layup. MU had the early 10-6 lead. DePaul with the ball now, and Brandon Young gets it on the perimeter where he rolls in the tray. Young finished with a game-high 29 points. Later, Devontae muscles a pass to John Dawson in the corner, and he throws in a rainbow 3. That wasn't all from deep range. Mayo gets the ball to Jake Thomas, and he's splashing and cashing. Thomas went 3 of 6 from 3. The story of the second half was Chris O'Toole. Here he gets the board and battles through contact for the and one. O'Toole went 6 of 6 from the field after the break. A minute later, Jamil hits the jumper off the inbounds play. He finished with 18 points and 9 boards. Now, time winding down. DePaul down 3. Billy Garrett trots up the court and pops the 3 from the logo. Tie game. We are headed to OT. In overtime, though, Devontae backing in, misses the initial attempt, gathers the rebound, and scores the putback. MU kept their bubble hopes alive with a 96-94 win. Let's hear from our own Mike Cianciolo, who has the recap.
Home loss to Creighton. Marquette would travel to Rosemont, Illinois Saturday afternoon to face DePaul, and it would take overtime for the Golden Eagles to beat the Blue Demons 96-94.
I thought how we started the game was really good, arguably defensively as good as we've been. I think they didn't score their first basket until the 6.5-minute mark. And then I thought how we started defensively in the second half. I think they scored 1 basket before the first media timeout. And then I thought Chris was phenomenal, near perfect, if not offensively, to start the second half.
Marquette started both halves on scoring runs, opening the game up 7-0 through 6 minutes and following halftime with a 14-2 run to lead by as much as 15 points just 5 minutes into the second half. DePaul, however, would refuse to go away despite only leading the game in regulation 3 times, all of which in the first half. A late three-pointer by the Blue Demons' Billy Garrett would tie the game up at 82 and force overtime. The Golden Eagles would hit 8 of their 9 overtime free throws to seal the victory while playing the final 2 minutes without senior Jamil Wilson, who fouled out.
Obviously, he's really good defensively. He's always going to be in the mix to get defensive rebounds. Wish that he was in the mix to get more offensive rebounds. But you trust him with the ball in his hands, offensively, particularly in a critical stretch like that. For those guys to close down the game without Jamil, I thought says a lot about who they are.
Jameel Wilson and the rest of the senior front court played a pivotal role in the victory Saturday. Devontae Gardner would score 7 of his team-high 22 points in overtime. Chris Otule would score 10 of his 12 points in the second half, and Jameel Wilson would come up 1 rebound shy of a double-double, pouring in 18 points and collecting 9 boards on the road. Marquette has 4 more regular season games left against some of the Big East's finest, and will split the remaining games between home and away.
It should be a fun couple of weeks. And so how it all plays out, I don't think anybody knows. I still think 5 teams from our league are going to the tournament. I think if you really study the numbers, I think they speak for themselves. And I know everybody's already discounted us out, but that's somewhat been the story of my career and a lot of the careers of the kids that are on our team.
Marquette's next matchup comes back at the Bradley Center Thursday to face the Georgetown Hoyas. Reporting from the All-State Arena, Mike Cianciolo, MUTV Sports.
Jameel Wilson was named to the Big East Honor Roll this week after averaging 14 points and 8 boards per game in a week that Marquette went 1-1. You know, Brian, a 1-1 week for Marquette isn't bad, but they are pretty much going to need to win out the rest of the season to make the NCAA tournament.
It does seem that way, Grant. Let's see what our analysts have to say about it as they put the past week in perspective. Dwayne?
Thanks, Brian. I'm Dewayne Gage, joined here with our analysts, Peter Fiorentino and Michael Gilbert, and we're here to talk Marquette men's basketball. So on Wednesday, Doug McDermott and Ethan Ragg shot the lights out for the Golden Eagles. Does a loss like that deflate any confidence of trying to make a run to end the season, Pete?
You know, these are the times when Marquette shines. Marquette, just like last year, they were down, rallied to kind of, get a share of that Big East title, and then eventually went to the Elite Eight. So it was a successful season for Marquette, even though they kind of struggled towards the middle of the season. They eventually pick it up towards the end. I'd like to see Buzz Williams' team kind of pick it up more towards the beginning of the season, but because it's the end, it's fine. The end's where it counts. So you sprint to the finish. So I guess my point in saying this is, is Marquette down? They take a little stumble, yes, but down and out, never.
And I would like to say that they're never down and out because they're playing against Villanova. Villanova's a good team, but they're going to get their marquee win, I think, against Villanova. And they have Todd Mayo, they have Jake Thomas, outside shooters who have really helped Marquette get into the game and cut the lead. So look for Marquette to really play through Todd Mayo and Jake Thomas to be those kind of guys to make some runs and get some points on the board.
Yeah, definitely Todd Mayo's been stepping up lately. But on the flip side, on Saturday, Marquette let DePaul hang around. But the team was able to win in a tight game overtime. So what were you guys' reaction on that game, Pete?
Well, I tell you, I was at the game, and so what I saw was a non-tournament defense. That was a defense that will not win a game in the tournament in the big dance. It was not a defense that can make them successful. It was kind of a combination of a really poor defense from Marquette and Billy Garrett Jr. of DePaul playing the game of his life. It was huge for him, and so it was kind of a combination of those two things. That being said, you're not going to win a game in the NCAA tournament with this kind of defense that Marquette has right now.
Definitely, Marquette's defense needs to step it up, whether it's Chris Otile or someone else, needs to put the block in the paint. Way too many easy baskets. They were coming and going. I want Marquette to really stop the ball, play some pressure defense on the perimeter, make them shoot some tougher shots, because when they have the points in the paint, the team with the most points in the paint usually wins the game.
No, I agree, and sometimes you see people like Devontae Gardner and Chris Otule have like 1 or 2 fouls into the game. Those are the big guys. They should have 3 or 4 fouls into the game. The big guys playing hard in the paint.
Come in there and make a presence on the defense. Next up is Georgetown at home Thursday. What are going to be the keys in the game for Marquette to win that game, Pete?
My key for Marquette's game is to go inside. Georgetown doesn't have anybody to stop Chris Otule and Devontae Gardner, which also means that Juan Anderson and Jameel Wilson have to play big.
And I definitely think that their guards are going to have to play. Georgetown's guards have been playing very well. They're the top scorers for their team. So whether that's Jameel Wilson or anybody else, Derek Wilson, they were going to have to play very tough.
Yeah, and lately, these last couple of games, we've had a team of shooters. We've had people just shooting outside, mid-range, which is good. I like the mid-range game, but I also want to see more inside play. I love when they used to go to Chris Otule to start the game with that giant dunk inside. It was a great kind of like almost like a momentum builder for the game, kind of great way to start it off. But this outside shooting, when Jake is shooting 9, only hitting 2, and when Todd is hitting 6 of his 15 shots, I don't really like the whole shooters aspect. I'd rather see them go more inside, Dwayne.
Yeah, I agree. Good. We need good guard play and good inside play. Thanks, guys. Hey, Brian, what's in store for the next block?
Well, Dwayne, coming up next, we've got more basketball, this time from Terry Mitchell's squad. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Bill Raftery, watching Golden Eagles Sports Report.
Welcome back to Golden Eagles Sports Report. Marquette women's basketball was down at the Owl hosting DePaul last Tuesday. The Lady Golden Eagles facing off against the Blue Demons. MU getting fired up before the tip-off. Early on, Catherine Plouffe misses her first shot, but channels her inner Devante, gets the ball, and battles for the bucket. Plouffe dominated inside all day with 12 boards. Then, Arlisha Morse camped in the corner and skies in the three. Later, Brooklyn Pomeroy throws a dime to Katie Young, who puts in the layup. DePaul now with the ball, and Megan Rogowski steps up and hits the three. Marquette trailed 35-25 at the half, with men's players Jameel Wilson and Jake Thomas looking on. In the second, Plouffe misses the shot, but Young comes flying in and gets the putback. She had 11 points and 6 rebounds for Marquette. Continuing the MU run, Morse gets fouled and counts the basket. She hit the free throw to tie the game at 43. But DePaul had an answer. Jessica January gets the steal and cruises for the open layup. DePaul had 12 total steals this game. With the game hanging in the balance, Pomeroy guns a bullet down to Epiajulo, whose three-point play gave Marquette the permanent lead. Coach Terry Mitchell's squad would go on to win 80-74, led by Morse's 17 points.
I say this all the time, doesn't matter what our records are, it's always going to be a battle with DePaul. It's always going to be a battle. These games are incredible. I think the stat I saw in the last 5 games, the home team won. That stayed consistent with tonight. Obviously, I will say this, I don't think our conference is getting enough credit nationally for the way that DePaul is playing, the way St. John's playing, Villanova, Creighton. And I think our team is making a push, a very strong push down the stretch. And so I hope people are going to start looking Big East way and talking a little bit more about the level of basketball. DePaul has just an amazing ability to make you play their style. And their style, we had 13 turnovers playing their style. When we settled into handling it, and you can see our shooting percentage for most of the half, we're shooting 57%. Our defense locked down, our rebounding, and we handled it, except for those few times at the end. I think that was a turning point. And what I told the team at halftime is don't sell yourself short. It's a 10-point game, it's 5 baskets. We can overcome that one media at a time, and I just think their enthusiasm coming out in the second half really turned the tables.
The Lady Golden Eagles took the court against the Seton Hall Pirates in South Orange, New Jersey on Saturday. Catherine Plouffe recorded her 11th double-double of the year with 23 and 11. The Pirates beat the Golden Eagles 90-86 behind a game-high 38 points from Tabitha Richardson-Smith. Alexis Brown also chipped in 24 points to help the cause at home. Katie Young also had a double-double with 21 and 10.
Marquette forward Catherine Plouffe won Big East Player of the Week this week. The Canada native tallied 18.5 points and had 11.5 boards for Marquette this past week. She shot 53% over the week, but in a close overtime battle at Seton Hall, finished with 83% shooting. She recorded her 11th double-double this year in South Orange and finished with a team-high 23 points and 11 boards. Plouffe notched 14 points and 12 rebounds in a victory over DePaul earlier this week. Terry Mitchell and her ladies look poised to make a run in the Big East tournament, Grant.
Yeah, that's right, especially after knocking off DePaul. For more on women's basketball, we go to our analyst. Guys?
Thanks, Grant. Back at the analyst desk for one last time to talk about women's basketball. Guys, Marquette had struggled at home in conference play all season, but pulled out a huge victory Tuesday against DePaul, rallying from 10 points down. What does this win say about the team, Pete?
It says we have great senior leadership. You know, Kat Plouffe and Katie Young really needed to step up. Kat Plouffe had 14 points and 12 rebounds in that game. And Brooklyn Pomeroy hit 5 of 6 free throws in the last 30 seconds to kind of propel them to a victory. So I really like seeing the way Kat Plouffe and kind of a younger Brooklyn Pomeroy kind of work together to kind of create that victory. Didn't see as much senior leadership from Katie Young. However, when Kat Plouffe steps up, no one else really needs to.
Definitely what you were saying, that Catherine Plouffe needs to be the sole center of that team, that she can really put people in the positions where they can accelerate and be the best that they can be. So I'm really looking for her to be the kind of on-court leader that she can be. Yeah,
Kat Plouffe dominates, but Katie Young, sometimes I see the game and she gets them going. A disappointing loss Saturday to Seton Hall in overtime from MU. Guys, what went wrong on the road? They had a 7-point lead at halftime.
Yeah, the first half was definitely the kind of basketball that Marquette wants to be playing. Seton Hall was a must-win, and it was really uncalled for that they lost to them. Seton Hall was 6-8 in their previous conference play, and now they're 7-8. Marquette is now 9-6. Would have been 10-5 had they beaten a lower Seton Hall team who's just honestly not as good. So I really wanted to see them win at Seton Hall, but they just did not play in the second half. They went from 53 to 43% in shooting for the first to the second half.
A lack of defense, a lack of effort. I just really didn't see that. Those are the kind of games, Peter, that you need to win. That you need to show everyone that that you are better in that in conference play. And those conference games really add up when it comes down to tournament time.
Yeah, I agree. They need consistent defense. The remaining 3 games come against the second, third, and the 4th best team in the Big East. How does Terry Mitchell's crew finish the regular season, guys?
I'm a very optimistic person, and so I'm going to go undefeated. Honestly, like it's a very big big guess and kind of out there and kind of bold. However, Terry Mitchell is a fantastic coach. Again, the senior leadership we want to see with Marquette. Kat Bloof, I'm kind of predicting that she'll go for 20 points a game to finish the season.
I think the freshmen really need to step up. I think along with that senior leadership, like you've been saying, that they really do need to stay together, be together, play defense, run the court, get those transition points, and then once they get those transition points, then that fires up the whole team and the 6th man.
Well, guys, who do you think needs to step up the most? Someone who's maybe been lacking as far as their play has been going this year. Who do you think has to step up the most?
Well, I think it's long as Catherine Plouffe, and then also, I mean, Ashley Young really needs to step up. I mean, she was out all last year, redshirt freshman now, so I really think that the freshman in that core needs to step up.
It's a switch roles. I think Brooklyn Premloy, she's been playing good ball.
Yeah.
She's stepping into a point guard role. She's definitely been dishing it out. I think if she gets it going on even scoring-wise and pushing the ball in assists, it can get this team to that undefeated record you were talking about.
Yeah, and Ashley Santos and Brooklyn Premloy, when they work together, it's kind of a special thing. You know, they're very different point guard styles, and so when they play together on the same court, it's kind of cool.
All right. Thanks, guys. That'll do it for us. Over to you, Grant.
When we come back on Golden Eagle Sports Report, we'll talk Marquette men's and women's lacrosse as both teams' seasons are up and running.
This is Jamil Wilson. You're watching Golden Eagles Sports Report.
The men's lacrosse team took on number 17 Ohio State on Saturday, and they gave the Buckeyes a run for their money. Marquette took an early lead via leading scorer Tyler Melnick and Kyle Whitlow's early goals. The Golden Eagles would then give up 6 straight goals, leading to an Ohio State lead that would not be relinquished. Jesse King led the Buckeyes' victory with 4 goals and 2 assists. Kyle Whitlow had a hat trick for the Golden Eagles, and they fell to 1-2 on the season. Kyle Whitlow was named to the Big East honor roll this week after his stellar performance in Saturday's loss. Whitlow ranks 6th in the Big East in scoring, averaging 2.33 goals per game. His shooting percentage of 53.8% is good for 24th in the nation.
Marquette women's lacrosse had a matchup today with the heavily favored Northwestern Wildcats. MU fell to number 4 Northwestern 20-5 despite the hat trick from sophomore Haley Bass. Northwestern scored less than 2 minutes into the contest and outshot the Golden Eagles 38-12 for the game. Marquette, who dropped to 0-2 on the young season, plays Michigan Friday in Ann Arbor. That's going to do it for this edition of Golden Eagle Sports Report. Thanks for watching.
For our analysts, Dewayne Gage, Peter Fiorentino, and Michael Gilbert, and my co-host Brian Foley, I'm Grant Becker. Good night, Marquette.